Hello! This is the second, I guess, session of the King's Landing campaign. So last week we left off with Blue setting up camp and going to sleep. So today we're going to pick up with the fact that you are in a forest and don't exactly know where you are, and you see an interesting, mysterious, ghostly figure off in the distance. We're still trying to figure out the logistics. You step down. Okay, you're going to look for... I cannot spell, my goodness. You're going to... Okay, you're gonna look for drugs. Why did I feel like you were going to do that? Well, make an investigation check, I guess. And we wait for the delay. Yay! I realized in post that the delay is twice, so it looks like I'm not responding to comments until 5 seconds after they're posted, and that's because I don't see them until 5 seconds after they're posted. So yeah, that chat latency is kind of annoying, but yeah, just waiting on that perception check. God, nat one. Okay, yeah, you find some glowing mushrooms, but they are probably not going to have the preferred effect. You can choose whether or not you want to try and eat them, but you're not poisoned yet. Okay, well, roll nature check for that. Rolled an 8. Okay, so you don't remember what they are? And there is... Goodness, predicted what you wanted, probably don't know. Okay, so your camp is nowhere to be seen. And in its place, there are a bunch of glowing lights, and everything around you is very foggy. Okay, so the glowing figure, as you approach them, they just disappear. And it reminds you a lot of a poem you read just a few hours ago. And with that, you wake up kind of distressed. So now you're actually in camp. And everything is as you left it. The night passed decently uneventfully, except for a very strange dream. What was the figure, or what was the poem? And yes, your camp is back that. Everything's now as you left it. You're pretty sure everything's real now. Okay, so you're gonna pack up camp, and then what are you gonna do? home. Um. Okay, so you made me prepare for this. So you can look for magic mushrooms again. Okay, roll investigation, I guess. Okay, well, yeah, roll investigation to try and find magic mushrooms, I guess. Okay, you find a fungus that, based on your studies and what you remember, just causes like mild hallucinations. um, and just like a mild euphoria, which I guess is kind of an oxymoron, but whatever, I don't care. Like, just kind of like a basic drug. It's used quite a lot in this world, but kind of on like the down low. Um, yeah, you find that. Why do I feel like the next like 3 in-game hours is just okay? Like next 3 in-game hours, like okay. Um, it's not so much like singular pieces because it's just like a general fungus, like more like a mold. But you have like a good like bit of it, about like a quarter cup worth. Which is like a couple standard doses. Okay, so you're gonna wander around just looking for the area in your dream. So the the area you saw in the dream was a pretty generic forest. So there's every area that kind of looks a little bit like it, but not exactly like it. And the most similar area you come across is this area with this little like stream kind of running through, and it's just kind of a nice little like meadow, like forested area. And maybe if it was really foggy, it'd kind of look like the area in the dream. Okay, we'll just do a perception check then. Well, you still have to roll a perception check, but it's a pretty low DC to have something interesting happen. So 17. Okay, so off in the distance, you hear like crunching through the brush, and you hear kind of like a child's voice just yelling like, "Floofy! Floofy, where are you? Floofy!" What do you want to do? Floofy reappears. Gonna go sneak. Okay, are you just sneaking towards the child crashing through the forest? And I'll just have you roll a stealth check there. Yeah, you are very sneaky. And it's pretty much what you expected, just a child, like, crashing through the forest, looking for Floofy, which is probably a pet, you're guessing? Very high stealth bonus. Yeah, and the kid's just still looking for this lost Floofy. And kind of continuing deeper into the forest. I'll just... the kid looks like a very young elf. And just a young elven girl, and kind of, like, dressed a bit chaotically. Looks very eccentric. Your long lost sister. No. Perhaps, maybe. That's true. Eccentric is kind of normal when you're talking about D&D adventuring parties, at least. Okay, so you continue to follow this child. She absolutely does not see you. And she's just continuing on into the forest, still calling out for Floofy. Actually, I don't know, roll, just straight intelligence check, I guess. Or perception check, I guess. For trying to figure out what kind of elf she is. Yeah, so you can tell she is a drow. I don't know how it is. It's like you always roll high on the things that completely don't matter, and then something that does matter. Cause she's looking for Floofy. That's why she's out in the sunlight. Yeah, it's like morning. Not super early morning, like around like 8, 9-ish. Yeah, just roll a perception check. Okay, nat 20. You see several woodland creatures that resemble what could be Floofy. Um, yeah, you only roll high when it's useless. So you see kind of a bunny off in the distance. You see like a bird that has very like ruffled feathers and might be Floofy. And off, way off in the distance, you see a wolf that appears to have a red color, so it looks like it might be domesticated. She knows. Okay, so you want to stealth towards the wolf? You can guess that. Definitely not. Absolutely. Who would ever do such a thing? Okay, so you actually, yeah, you managed to sneak up on the wolf, and so right now it's about 60 feet away from you, and looks, it's a pretty big wolf, but it does have a collar on it, which you would not see on a wild wolf, so it could definitely be floofy. What do you want to do? Do you not want to be 60 feet away from the wolf? I'll let you change the distance. Okay, so how far away from it do you want to be? '60 feet is 2 rounds of movement. uh, and about the max, or not the max of your vision, but close, but you can be closer if you would like. Yeah, just um well, it's a very bright red, so you can tell by the color. So, I would say you could tell. But anyway, what do you want to do? Okay, you're 30 feet away from the wolf. Are you just gonna stealth away from the wolf? I have no idea. I didn't think I would get this far. And you do hear the girl that's calling out Floofy is kind of approaching your direction, but like moving a bit diagonally. So not heading straight towards where you are, but getting closer. So yeah, just kind of Like, it looks like she's moving straight and you kind of moved on a diagonal, so she's gonna get closer, but not going to run into you exactly. Okay, so are you waiting for anything like in particular? Are you waiting for her to like get to a closer vicinity or what? Okay, so you're just like hiding, like, human, please do not interact with me, or I guess she's not human, elf. Please do not interact with me. Um, so you just kind of like crouch down in some bushes and you're just waiting. Um, and about like 10 minutes passes and she gets like close enough where, like, as she's calling out, like, Floofy, Floofy, you see the wolf just kind of like perk up and start moving in her direction. I jumped off a boat to avoid small talk. Fair enough. So, so yeah, you do hear her, like, eventually as like the wolf gets closer. She's like, "There you are! Like, you can't run off like that." Um, and you see her kind of head back in the direction that she came from, back more towards the like city, but also kind of like skirting around the edge of the forest. And this like wolf is just like bigger than her, like, but she seems very content. She leaves your vision. She appears to be doing fine, and heading back home, but she's out of any like immediate danger that you can see. It is very adorable. So what next? Great, then we're gonna climb a tree. Okay, just a quick dexterity check then. So you find a pretty decent climbable tree. Okay, so you managed to scramble up a tree and then a perception check to look around for a potential food source. Okay, so you can, like, it, you're quite high up, so you're not seeing a whole lot of specifics, though you see the area where you got the berries, and you can see that there are quite a few similar looking bushes, like a similar level of brush there. And then you can also see some fields off more towards town, and then to the south, you can see the ocean. You could. So yeah, you can see kind of Okay, so you make your way towards the bushes. Those are decently close to your camp as well. And then you get 10 more of the magic berries from last week of the one temporary hit point ones. So why'd you choose to be a hermit if you have a 20 for charisma? Me prepares like 20 NPCs, just one player. I'm gonna run off in the forest. That's okay, you're fantastic anyway, though. That's fair. Fair is using your best stat for your best thing metagaming. That's a debate. Okay, so it's not very far into town. It's about 20-minute walk. Anywhere in particular you want to go? Need my map. All the backgrounds are interesting. That's the problem. I've only gotten to play 2 of them, and they're all interesting. So as you enter into the town, you see a couple interesting things going on. So first off, the general number of people wandering around is a lot lower than you would expect. And so upon asking a couple people, they mainly just direct you to the town square, which seems to be the main place for all the gossip. But people kind of have their own ideas of what's going on. So I'm actually gonna have you roll a persuasion check to see if you can get people to talk about it. Like I said, I need a persuasion check. See what they think. 13. Okay, so a lot of people seem to think that it's the plague, basically. People have started calling it the Night Death because it seems like people just don't sleep and then die, or they have severe insomnia and then die, or kind of some different ideas. And then people have different ideas about transmission. There are a lot of people saying it's the miasma, the plague. A lot of people are saying it's miasma, but some people are saying that it's transmitted via touch. The plague. What's BS? That it's the plague, because it's not the plague. or that's miasma. It might be supernatural. Most of the commoners don't really know. So yeah, as you get to the town square, you see a lot of like notices, like where they would normally have. Oh yeah, miasma is totally yeah. So as you get to the town square, you see quite a few notices, a lot of which are revolving around a lot of places urgently needing healers. So they're trying to recruit anyone who's part of an adventuring party or like just knows any healing magic or just conventional healing. And they're just trying to find them a fun new face mask. So yeah, so yeah, there's basically just a lot of notices looking for doctors, and a couple notices looking for carriage drivers. Tough luck, I'm a monster hunter. And there's no official notice for can someone please fix the illness, but there are notices of like any information about transmission that can be given to the crown will be rewarded. So okay, so you're gonna make a face mask just out of like miscellaneous cloth that you have available to you, or are you using any particular like materials? Okay, so yeah, you can go to just like a basic shop and get some of that. So you make yourself a face mask. It's by modern standards like a pretty decent one. Okay, any other precautions that you're taking to not get sick? It's not that much at all. It's like 3 copper pieces. Okay, so you can find that at a shop as well, and those will cost you 5 copper pieces, since it's actually like composed of stuff. But yeah, kind of like some basic like thinner gloves. They're not really work gloves, just for like late fall. So then, what next? I keep stumping them. Just um yeah, so you're in the city, you're in the town square, kind of. There are quite a few people milling around, though there would normally be a lot more people out and about, but still quite a few people. You can still travel freely about the city. You don't know about beyond that. Yeah, it's fair. I think it'll get a bit better as more people join. The hard part is getting more people to join to prove that it'll be better. It's kind of a catch 22. Yeah, you can go and do that. There's kind of close to a town square. There's a bit of like a town hall, which is a decently simple building. Okay, no, you're not gonna do that. Okay, so you do not go to the town hall. Okay, so you ask around, and there are a couple people with kind of like horror stories of their relatives getting it or like their friends. But one, I'm gonna have you do another not charisma, bro, a persuasion check. Uh, I can words to see kind of what ideas people have. But people kind of look at you and they feel like you're mourning something. So, yeah, they're a bit more likely to help you out. Yeah, a couple people have mentioned that a lot of people who think it's based on touch and don't believe the miasma theory are because someone in their household got sick with it. Um, so yeah, that's fair. And one person mentions that they they noticed that an entire like group of their friends all got it and then recovered from it, but they all got it at the same time, and it was after playing a game of cards. That's that's their theory. Um, yeah, aside from that, most people haven't really been deliberately keeping like detailed ledgers of who's gotten sick and who hasn't. Okay, so you go up to the town hall and kind of like, a secretary kind of immediately tells you to like, like take a seat for a moment and the mayor will be with you soon. Um, then a few moments later, this kind of like frail looking gnome woman kind of says like, "Hello?" and looks kind of perplexed by what you're doing there because she's not expecting anyone to show up. Um, got it. Yes, I am the mayor. Why are you here exactly? Oh yes, it's been quite an issue. Yeah, we're working on solving it. We're not quite sure how it's transmitted yet. There are a couple of theories floating around, but none of which are particularly founded. So if you have any evidence that could help us figure out how to cure it quickly, that would be much appreciated. Interesting. What would that entail exactly? Oh. So, like, what the crown has done to the various territories and why all the ships are grounded. Where it's like if a city gets an infection, then the entire city is quarantined off from the rest. Am I correct in that? Interesting. Are you suggesting doing this on a smaller scale here at King's Landing? Perhaps it would be less panic inducing than full on general quarantine, which seems to put the population on edge. Oh, interesting. We do care about the economy here. Um, so, how are we going to figure out who's interacting with who, though? That's a lot to keep track of. I guess there are a couple scribes that work for the government that I could assign to such a task. Oh, so by paying attention to who has what kind of contact with other individuals, then we can figure out how it's transmitted? And only interview those who fall ill? I'm sorry, you're losing me here. Oh, yeah, I guess. Perhaps, though, if people are sick, they're not going to be able to leave home. And I am a bit concerned about sending out our scribes to possibly get infected and infect others. Unless, do you have another method of recording, perhaps? Perhaps you may have noticed by the rumors floating around that voluntary quarantine doesn't always work well. Yeah, sorry. Sorry about all the typing. Um, Perhaps we could request that people quarantine if they get sick. Then maybe it would fizzle out on its own. I'll send out one of the guards to put a request up on the message board. Thank you for your assistance. And she hands you one gold piece and kind of like shoos you out a little bit. Ah, yes, and of course the quarantines, though people tend to be a bit less than compliant. Okay, so you kind of you thank her for her time and you kind of leave the town hall. You're back in the town square, kind of with the same like same set of people kind of milling around. And like briefly after you leave, you see a guard exiting the town hall. So it doesn't look like she's actually heeding your request to contact Trace. Uh, and you see him with kind of a piece of paper hastily written. Yeah, it might not. So, with contact tracing being introduced to the city, that is where we are going to end this for today, and that's where we will pick up next week. Bye!